All right, what is going on, guys? And welcome back to another blockchain future. Apple just recently had their event, whatever you want to call it, and they announced a revolutionary credit card. I think it's kind of funny that they came out with something that's simple as a credit card and made it sound like they invented it, as they do with a lot of things. I was actually at the Macworld when Steve Jobs actually announced the first iPhone. And I can tell you that the energy of the current Apple keynotes versus the originals that actually had Steve Jobs they're quite different. And Apple does seem to be running out of ideas. They have turned into what they did not want to turn into when they were a younger company. And I think that this article actually shows exactly why they're doing it, why they're turning into what they're turning into, and how they haven't really captured the younger crowd. And they actually have a chance to do that by embracing cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. So, this article from Bitcoinist is just about that, why the new Apple Card credit card doesn't compete with Bitcoin. The Apple credit card launches this summer. Here's why it's bad writing. The Apple credit card launches this summer. Here's why it's nothing like Bitcoin and is more underwhelming than a utility token with no use case. Apple announces credit card. Apple has long been revered as the world's most innovative company. There's no denying that the smartphone changed the way billions of people around the world live their lives forever. But it's time for the trailblazing tech company to wake up and smell the roses. Um, I just want to mention that Apple, and this is like for the billionth time, did not invent the smartphone. If Apple never came out with the iPhone, it would have gone mainstream anyways. It would have been from a different company. But I'll move on. While Apple was releasing one carbon copy product after another at higher and higher prices, the competition was busy doing the opposite. Now the high-end, high-priced tech manufacturer is scrambling to hold its own in a rapidly evolving market. And with the launch of its underwhelming Apple Card, there's something sad about the stench of its desperation. Ain't that the truth? Apple's largest competitor, apart from the slew of cheaper Chinese products, is undoubtedly Samsung. The South Korean giant hasn't had an easy ride either, with equally pricey products getting undercut left and right. But as one large company embraces the future, its flagship Galaxy S10 coming with a built in Bitcoin wallet, Apple's response is disappointing to say the least. Rather than acknowledge the cryptocurrency revolution and appeal to a younger market, the smartphone manufacturer aims to disrupt the credit card industry. Isn't that the wrong pool to be swimming in? It definitely is. Apple had a chance here to really capture the younger crowd that they seem to be losing. I believe that there are a lot of younger people that are consumerists and really like to just buy the latest Apple product, no matter what it is. But more and more of the younger generation are seeing cryptocurrency for what it truly is, and they are definitely going to be the generation to bring it into the mainstream. The revolution won't come in the form of borderless transactions since it's only available in the United States. It also won't be peer to peer, eliminate centralized institutions, or greatly reduce fees, although its interest rates will be among the lowest in the industry. Oh, wow. Mind blown. Apple's game plan is more about additional security of payments, no annual or foreign transaction fees, and the fact that, wait for it, its partner Goldman Sachs will never sell your data for marketing. Okay. You can even buy yourself a coffee in the Goldman Sachs on the Goldman Sachs blockchain. You just have to trust Apple and Goldman Sachs to do so. That's kind of funny. The Apple Card will come built into the iPhone's Wallet app, which effectively makes it a custodial hardware hot wallet for US dollars. Apple claims they will never track your transactions and all the information will be held on your device. I guess you'll have to trust Apple for that to be true. Users can request a laser-etched titanium card should they be so inclined, although there seems to be little point in that. In fact, why even offer a traditional card for a wallet the company wants you to get rid of in the first place? If you failed to be bowled, if you failed to be bowled over by such innovation so far, there's more. Users can track their spending on their iPhone or on their phone through a user-friendly app. Ooh, wow. In the wake of major gaffes by tech companies like Facebook and Google, Apple is pushing its next generation security and privacy features. The centralized entity will not track your transactions, and Goldman Sachs and the other centralized entity has agreed to not to sell user data. Explosive stuff compared to the decentralized alternative financial system, which explosive stuff compared to the decentralized alternative financial system, which requires no intermediaries at all, which we've talked about many times on this channel. Increased adoption of Apple Pay, perhaps a revolution in finance. It's just as well Cook wasn't speaking at a Bitcoin conference. The audience would have walked out in droves. Apple Card seems to be a desperate bid to push Apple Pay onto the people rather than let them choose how they manage their finances. CEO Tim Cook enthused that the card was, quote, the most significant change in the credit card experience in 50 years. Wow, they're really reaching, aren't they? Exactly where has he been lately? Steve Jobs would have Bitcoin integrated into iOS by now. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it is still a bit early, but with Samsung getting on board, I think maybe I don't know, maybe in the next release of the iPhone, but definitely they would be working on something internally. Maybe Apple is working on something, but with how tied in they are with the legacy financial institutions, probably not. The aim of the game is presumably to bump up the adoption of Apple Pay in partnership with market leaders MasterCard and Goldman Sachs, two giant financial institutions that will hardly feel the pinch from Apple Pay and its meager card. There are no real tangible benefits for users of the card beyond a few outstandingly mundane offers. For example, paying for Apple products with your built-in Apple Card gets you a whopping 1 to 3% cash back on purchases. So what is Apple thinking entering an already saturated market that swaths of people are trying to overthrow? Once on the cutting edge of innovation, Apple now seems to be extremely myopic when it comes to the future. Ain't that the truth? Well, it is sad to see Apple not being nearly as cutting edge as they were. Even when they were cutting edge, so to speak, they weren't very cutting edge. They really kind of acted like Japanese companies did in the past. They took really good ideas and made them better, just like they did invent the smartphone. They took the existing Blackberries and Trios, and Steve Jobs turned that into a mainstream smartphone that everybody could use. Even though, like I said, smartphones would eventually have gotten to the point to where they are now, even without Apple. But there are, I don't think the Apple Watch is anything special. Um, I really can't think of anything that they've done that has been crazy innovative since the iPhone. I mean, the iPad wasn't really that big of a leap from the iPhone. Same with the iPad Pro. Steve Jobs is probably going to roll in his grave about the pencil. He didn't want any styluses. I actually got to meet Steve Jobs once, he was actually nice. But anyway, I do think that Apple is a company that is very much they're always trying to get a cut of something. And I bet that they did not see any money getting into the crypto market because there's nowhere in that market that they could take a cut. So there's really no financial benefit for Apple to get all of their customers, and they do have a lot of customers into crypto. If anything, crypto is maybe their competitor, so to speak. Samsung is in a little bit of a different position. They're the South Koreans are very crypto friendly. They love crypto. Samsung is always pushing the envelope. You look at the S10 compared to the new iPhone. I know the S10 came out recently, but the S10 has got you know on-screen fingerprint reader. It's got a full screen without the notch. It's just got the little cutout for the camera. It basically has everything that the iPhone was supposed to have. And they're on their second revision of the current iPhone 10 and 10s. So they're on the second version of the 10. So you think that they would have had that stuff by now. Instead, they keep going with Face ID. So all of this stuff shows that Apple is slipping. I haven't even checked to see. I believe during their announcements, their stock was dropping. But I don't think we're going to see Apple embrace crypto anytime soon. And we don't really have to worry about that because, like I've said many times, crypto is going to move forward whether Apple likes it or not. Please like and subscribe. If you like the video, I got plenty of other videos on different topics, including decentralized finance. That's all I got for today. Thanks and have a good one.